Scrolling through social media, we often encounter posts that seem ordinary at first glance. But behind some of these seemingly innocuous photos and updates lie chilling tales of tragedy, mystery, and the darker side of human nature. Brace yourself as we delve into the unsettling stories behind seemingly harmless social media posts.
Many of you guys have heard of Slender Man. He's pretty legendary among the whole scary story community. Well, check this picture out. A guy took this of his girlfriend just chilling out in the park, but take a look over there next to that tree. That doesn't look like any old person. It looks like a very specific person, Slender Man. I think what's extra creepy about this one is how whatever that is clearly doesn't care about being seen. Next up at number 9 now, we have this picture. Now this was reportedly taken by a woman who just wanted a picture of her son and their house cat. However, upon closer inspection, she noticed what looks like a face poking out from under the table in the corner, its mouth hanging open. According to her, she believes the ghostly looking head may be of her husband's mother or the ghost of someone who died in the house. No thank you. Next up at number 8 now, we have this picture that went viral at the end of 2016. It looks like a fun kind of picture of some friends sharing a bath. Do they have a visitor at the window there? Some of you may first notice what looks like a hand, others may first notice what appears to be a ghostly face next to it. Either way, it looks eerily like a person and caused a lot of people to freak out online over it. Next up at number 7 now, we have this famous picture showing what looks like a group of friends. Everyone seems happy except this little girl. Why is she crying? Well, many people feel it has something to do with what's going on in between these two women. Many people say this is a ghostly apparition of a long dead child. It could just be a trick of the light, but even skeptics say it does kind of look like a face. Coming at number 6 now, we have this picture of a rescue attempt somewhere in China. The authorities are in the river trying to figure out how to move that vehicle. There's a crowd of people watching nearby, but there also appears to be another spectator that nobody has noticed. If we take a zoom in through the plants, there's the unmistakable image of something humanoid. It doesn't look like an actual human, which perhaps makes it even scarier. Whatever it is, it knows it's been seen and its face isn't too happy about it.
Obvious one at number 10, your phone number. While it is convenient to have your phone number accessible to your friends who might need to get in contact with you, it is also very dangerous. People can take your phone number and do a reverse phone number lookup, and your location can be narrowed down quite easily. So just be careful with that one, or people are gonna come find you. Now at number 9 is your full birth date. Although it is very nice to receive birthday wishes on your Facebook timeline, it can also put you in a really bad situation. If you have your full birth date on the internet, scammers and identity thieves now have access to this key information that is needed to steal your identity and open up accounts in your name. Your home address is at number 8. Okay, this is a pretty obvious one, but it does happen. You never know who might be looking at your profile. It's that simple. Don't post where you live online. Keep that private. It's basically the same thing as telling a complete stranger where you live. Stalkers and criminals can actually use Google Maps to case your house and see what the best route is to get in. Vacation plans makes its way onto this list at number 7. A lot of people will post their vacation itinerary or plane tickets while on vacation because they're so damn excited. But to potential criminals and house invaders, this is giving them the green light to come rob your house, because while you're on vacation in the Bahamas beach or something, there's no one home. It is recommended that you wait until you return from your vacation to post pictures or discuss it on social media, so watch out for that one. Coming in at number 6, we have relationship problems. If you're having a fight with your partner, please do not go on a rant on social media, please. People don't need to read all of your issues, and it could be just really embarrassing as well. People will probably judge you and your partner, since this doesn't seem like, healthy behavior. Instead, talk to your significant other, face to face, because that still is a thing, and try to resolve the issue. Fights happen, but they don't need to be, broadcasted on social media. Okay, today I am fighting with my girlfriend because it's her day to take out the dog. Complaints about your job makes its way.
Next up at number 5 now, we have a picture of a girl sitting on her bed. She's smiling, but perhaps she wouldn't be if she could see what others see in this picture. If we look at the corner of the bed there, just behind the mattress, that kinda looks like an eye. And not just any eye, an eye that's staring directly at the camera. Kinda looks angry. Like, if you tell them I'm under their bed, I'll kill you too. Alright, that got quite dark. Let's move on to ad number 4 now, guys, and we have these teenagers hanging out in some foggy woods. Nice day for a walk, you might say. Well, it seems that someone else back there had the same idea. Usually with pictures like this taken in the woods, some people argue that could easily be a tree. But look at all the other trees there. They're all way bigger than the height of a person. Or maybe that's not even a person. Next up, ad number 3 now. Check out this picture that a night cam took. Now, they're usually motion sensitive, these things, and capture images of animals roaming around at night. But what triggered the motion sensor? The deer or this? It looks humanoid in nature, but is it actually human? Some people speculate that this may be a supernatural or even alien being. Whatever it is, what's it doing creeping up on that deer? Who knows what or even who it will creep up on next. Moving on to number 2 now, we have this picture a man took of his 4-year-old daughter during their trip to Japan. He took a few of them in the same spot, but on one particular picture there appears to be a pair of boots behind the girl. The man's friend posted these pictures to Reddit and everyone freaked out trying to solve the mystery of where these boots came from. One theory says it's a samurai ghost because that beach is where samurai used to be buried. Others say it's just a trick of the light. What do you guys think? And finally, at number 1 now, we have this picture of some England fans hanging out on the grass during a World Cup party. After taking these pictures on their camera, it took a little look and saw this strange figure standing in the window of the building behind them, still under construction. After seeing this, some of them decided to climb the scaffolding and see for themselves what was up there, but they couldn't find anything. Some people who saw this think it could just be one of the construction workers, while others say it looks like a woman holding up a baby. What do you guys see?
Into number 5. Even if you had, a frustrating day at work, it is never a good idea to complain about your workplace online. Why? Well, your co-workers or boss might stumble across your post and it can get you in trouble with your employer. Also, if you're applying for a new job, they might check your social media and see if, you're a complainer or if there's something there that should hit red flags or something that, your employer just doesn't like. Now at number 4 is embarrassing thing. Okay, this is another one that gets overlooked a lot. So before you post anything online, stop and think for a moment. Would I want my boss or family to see this? If not, then definitely don't post it. I mean, that just makes sense, right? Even if you post something and delete it after, you never know who just the sound effect of someone screenshotting your profile. So think twice before you upload a picture of yourself on a drunken night because it might just come back and haunt you. Pictures of you using drugs or alcohol comes into obviously number 3, don't do this. If you're underage and posting these kinds of pictures onto social media, you're just looking ridiculous and you're incriminating yourself. I mean, there's the proof right there. Remember, these pictures are open to the public so anyone can see it, including your boss, law enforcement, and your family members who don't really want to see, the bad and wild side of you. Next up at number 2 is banking information. Banks and credit companies will never ask you for personal details online, for your phone number, your credit card number, none of that, so don't give it out online. Some people are victims to these types of traps and will provide hackers and scammers with their complete credit card details and personal information. Someone on Twitter posted a picture of her credit card and guess what happened? Well, obviously people spent money, that credit card got maxed out. And then the person didn't understand what happened and they went through the filing process, got a new card, and then they posted that card saying, hey guys, I got my new card. Oh my goodness. Okay, finally number 1, we have inappropriate or naked pictures. Everything that gets uploaded onto the internet is there to stay forever. So unless you don't want your new boss to stumble across an inappropriate picture of yourself, don't post it on social media for the world to see. Even if you send a Snapchat picture, chances are someone might have taken a screenshot of it. And they'll have it on their phones, they can show their friends, now they can just show it to the whole world.
Coming in at number 10, we have Reeva Steenkamp. On the night before Valentine's Day in 2013, South African model Reeva Steenkamp was getting excited about her evening with her boyfriend Oscar Pistorius. Without knowing what would happen to her later that evening, Reeva tweeted, "What do you have up your sleeve for your love tomorrow? Hashtag get excited, hashtag Valentine's Day." Now this seems like a very positive tweet, but in retrospect, it's very, very sad. After dinner, Reeva and Oscar reportedly went to bed. After that, well, reports do vary. We do know that she was shot and killed as she crouched behind the toilet door. Now you can search for images of what her body looked like after the shooting, but I would wildly discourage it. The next day, her unopened Valentine's card to Pistorius was found by investigators. Coming into number 9, we have the final tweet by Ivan Fedino. Famous Spanish bullfighter Ivan Fedino tweeted just 1 hour and 18 minutes before he died on the 17th of June 2017. The tweet was in Spanish, but it seemed to be about the final bullfight he was taking place in France. The 36-year-old was gored to death as a bullhorn pierced his lung shortly after the tweet. Very sad. Coming into number 8, we have the final tweet by Leonard Nimoy. Dr. Spock actor Leonard Nimoy died from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease in 2015, aged 83. Before he died, the Star Trek actor tweeted a final hauntingly beautiful last tweet. He said, "A life is a garden. Perfect moments can be had, but not preserved except in memory." While this is certainly spooky and strangely preemptive, it's actually very poignant and true. He passed away just 4 days after his final tweet. Coming into number 7, we have Freddie E. In 2013, 23-year-old rapper Freddie E killed himself with a single self-inflicted rifle shot to the head. In the hour and a half running up to his death, he live tweeted his mental state. It started with a tweet in which he said his day was ruined. He then tweeted, "I'm sorry." This was followed by, "Smoked my first pack of cigarettes today. Been a long time since I've gone through heartbreak. It's cold and unforgiving world if I do say." Then he tweeted, "It's all bad, y'all." Then he tweeted, "I love you mum, I love you dad, I love you Catherine. God, please forgive me." And then his final tweet was simply, "I'm sorry." Rest in peace, Freddie. Coming into number 6, we have the cryptic final tweets from Amy Winehouse. 2 days prior to her death, 27-year-old Amy Winehouse tweeted, "Oinka oinka oinka, why you awake?" Now the tweet remains etched on her now defunct Twitter page forever as a lasting message from the star who was gone far too soon.
Starting off at number 10 now, we have the Messenger scans. In April 2018, Bloomberg reported that Facebook scans every link and image that you send to your friends and family on Facebook Messenger. Facebook said they do this so that they can flag content that goes against their terms and conditions. In a statement, they gave an example of their scanning as a tool to detect and stop child exploitation imagery, as their system will scan it and then flag it to their attention. Now they say the same works for links that people send you being scanned for malware or viruses. This may sound good on paper, but in practice many people are unhappy with the idea of Facebook literally scanning every picture or personal link that they send, whether or not it's a machine doing it. At the end of the day, I think this one comes down to, like so many things, how much you value safety and fighting crime compared to your own privacy. I'd be interested to hear where the line is for you in the comments section. Next up at number 9 now, we have deleted videos. In the last video we talked about Cambridge Analytica, the company that gathered information about millions of Facebook users to sell it on for political purposes. One of Facebook's responses to the scandal was to allow people to download their own data and see for themselves what Facebook has been storing about them. To people's horror, they found that Facebook had stored videos that they had deleted. They were still present in Facebook's archives and available for anyone to retrieve if they knew how. Facebook apologized for the unintentional bug, however the damage was kind of already done, and public opinion of Facebook plummeted thanks to their very loose definition of the term deleted. Moving on to number 8 now, we have Mark's messages. As many of you are aware, Facebook users can't delete messages from someone else's inbox once they send them a message. They can delete their own all they want, but the other person will always be able to see it. Well, apparently that doesn't apply to Mark Zuckerberg. In early 2018, a TechCrunch report claimed that Facebook reviews old messages sent between sources and Mark Zuckerberg, founder of Facebook. They found that Mark's messages have been removed somehow. When the report was released, Facebook said it was a corporate security measure. Now they claim that after Sony Pictures had their emails hacked in 2014, they themselves made a number of changes to protect their executive communications. This included, in their words, limiting the retention period for Mark's messages in Messenger. We did so in full compliance with our legal obligations to preserve messages. Now, whether or not you think it's fair that this privilege isn't extended to other Facebook users, one question still remains: why didn't Facebook publicly disclose this? Moving on to number 7 now, we have the Facebook Facebook killer. Now, nobody would say this one is Facebook's fault, but it's still something I think they would like to downplay. On April 16th, 2017, 74-year-old Robert Godwin Sr. was shot and killed while walking on a sidewalk in Cleveland, USA. The suspect was 37-year-old Steve Stevens. He posted a video of the shooting onto his Facebook account. This led many media outlets to dub him the Facebook killer. Now, while this was obviously not Facebook's fault, they did get some criticism. Some people felt that the video should not have even been allowed up on Stevens' Facebook page for the 2 hours that it was there before being taken down. A few weeks later, Facebook announced that it was adding additional personnel to their team to proactively screen Facebook Live content for violent and other inappropriate sources. Moving on to number 6 now, we have Russia. Just calling this one Russia. Most people are aware of the ongoing investigation into Russian meddling into the 2016 US election. There has been mounting evidence of a Russian influence campaign on Facebook that targeted American voters to intentionally spread misinformation. Many people claim that Facebook didn't do enough to stop this, despite it happening before their very eyes. In response to this, Facebook announced plans to begin requiring disclosures and disclaimers on all political ads and include issue-based ads. Some say that it is a step in the right direction, others say it's way too little too late.
Coming into number 5, we have the final tweets from Nolan Birch. Nolan Birch was an 18-year-old West Virginia University student who died of alcohol poisoning in November 2014. On the afternoon before his death, he tweeted, "It's about to be a very eventful night to say the least. The teen attended a frat party that dropped attendees off in an undisclosed location, blindfolded with a bottle of liquor." Coming into number 4, we have the final tweet from Alex Sullivan. On the 20th of July 2012, Alex Sullivan tweeted, "The Dark Knight Rises. At Real Nerds, oh man, 1 hour till the movie and it's gonna be the best birthday ever." Sadly, the movie theater that Alex was attending to watch the latest Batman installment was the Aurora Century 12 movie theater in Colorado. On his 27th birthday, Alex sat with his friends enjoying the movie when James Holmes stormed the theater, set off tear gas and shot at the audience with a Remington 870 Express tactical shotgun and a Glock 22 handgun. 70 people were injured and 12 died, including Alex, who was killed from a single gunshot wound to the chest. Coming into number 3, we have Mitch Lucker. Mitch Lucker was the lead singer of popular American band Suicide Silence. On Halloween night of 2012, 28-year-old Mitch took a picture of himself in skull face paint and tweeted, "The dead are living." Just a few hours after his final tweet, he was involved in a fatal motorbike crash on his black Harley Davidson. He left behind his wife and his 5-year-old daughter Kennedy. It was reported that Mitch had been drinking. Presumably he did have the face paint on when he died too, which makes it even scarier. Coming into number 2, we have the final tweets from Jalen Freiberg. On October the 24th, 2014, 15-year-old Jalen Freiberg shot and killed 4 students at Marysville Pilchuck High School in Washington. This is before he turned the gun on himself. The night before he tweeted, "It won't last, it will never last." His last few tweets that he sent before that were equally heartbreaking. 2 nights prior, he was clearly unwell, tweeting, "It breaks me, it actually does. I know it seems like I'm sweating it off, but I'm not and I'll never be able to." He then tweeted, "I should have listened, you were right. The whole time, you were right." His penultimate tweet was, "If I just laid down." It seems that Jalen had been struggling at school and had got into a fight with a fellow member of the football team. Now, this member of the team apparently had used racial slurs against him. This is just so sad. I really hope that teenagers are getting the mental support they need at that very tentative time in their lives. Finally, a big warning, our number 1 is very disturbing. We've got the final tweet from Marvin Douglas Lancaster III. Now, unfortunately, he live streamed his own death. Marvin used Periscope, a live streaming app from Twitter, to record his final moments before death, apart from he was unaware that he was his final moments. He was dancing in a strip club in Tampa, Florida, recording himself dancing and talking to a stripper. Shots then ring out and the camera falls to the floor. 21-year-old Marvin was one of 2 people killed and 7 more injured.
Coming at number 5 now, we have anti-Semitism. In September 2017, ProRepublica published an article in which they claimed that Facebook allowed them to post anti-Semitic advertisements with no restrictions. This was all part of a test they did to see if they could even do it. For $30, they promoted 3 posts to over 2,000 people interested in topics that involved extremely anti-Semitic phrases. In just 15 minutes, the ads were 100% approved. After they contacted Facebook about this, the company removed the anti-Semitic categories which were created created by an algorithm rather than people. Despite the fact that the categories and posts were machine made and monitored, that didn't get Facebook off the hook. They admitted fault and said it would explore ways to fix the problem, including limiting the number of categories available or scrutinizing them before they are displayed to buyers. Moving on to number 4 now, we have the Instagram clash. In case you didn't already know, Facebook owns Instagram. They bought the company back in 2012 for $1 billion. In the years since then, many people thought that the two companies had quite a harmonious relationship. However, behind the scenes it was a very different story. Rumors of a rift between them were confirmed in September 2018 when Instagram co-founders Kevin Systrom and Mike Krieger announced they would be leaving the company. This was amid reports that their departure might be due to an increase in meddling by Mark Zuckerberg. That is right, they felt that Mr. Zuckerberg was getting far too involved with their company to the point where they felt the only option was to leave. Now officially they said they were leaving to explore their curiosity and creativity again. Experts think they were trying to run Instagram more independently than Facebook would have liked them to. The companies had worked together well for the past 6 years, but it's thought that something happened behind the scenes in the last few months that caused this rift between them. Next up at number 3 now we have hate speech. In April 2018, Vox published an interview with Mark Zuckerberg which got him into hot water with a lot of people. He said he had helped to silence anti-Rohingya propaganda through the Facebook Messenger scams that we talked about before. That crisis involved 650,000 Rohingya refugees being forced to flee Bangladesh following persecution. Organisers in Myanmar were furious about Zuckerberg's claim. 6 groups there signed a letter to Zuckerberg that stated, "Though these dangerous messages were deliberately pushed to large numbers of people, many people who received them say they did not personally know the sender. Your team did not seem to have picked up on the pattern. For all of your data, it would seem that it was our own personal connection with senior members of the team which led to the issue being dealt with." Mark Zuckerberg might have felt Facebook did enough to stop this hate speech, but many people who were on the ground there did not. Moving on to number 2 now, we have plagiarism. In 2009, Facebook settled a lawsuit from a man who claimed that he basically came up with Facebook. Let me explain. The lawsuit came from Aaron Greenspan. He attended Harvard University at the same time as Mark Zuckerberg. He designed a program called House System for students and faculty members. One section of that involved a course scheduler, student marketplace, email service, automatic birthday reminder, message boards, photo albums, digital flyer advertising, an event calendar, map integration, job placement, and local business reviews. Its name was, wait for it, the Universal Facebook, or just Facebook for short. The lawsuit was finally settled with Mark Zuckerberg acknowledging Aaron Greenspan for his contribution to Facebook. Any money that changed hands over this was not disclosed though. What do you guys think? Is this just inspiration or a total rip-off? And finally at number 1 now we have experimentation. This is a really shady one that not many people know about. Back in 2012, for about a week, Facebook ran an experiment. Without users' knowledge or permission, many people were shown happier or more negative statuses than usual, with the opposing ones being censored to them. At the end of the week, Facebook analysts examined if this affected people's moods by seeing if they posted happier or more negative things themselves. Now naturally there was an absolute uproar when this happened. Many people said this was extremely unethical and that just because an experiment is done online, it doesn't mean you can hide it from the people taking part. Facebook didn't really seem to mind though, at least not at the time. People speculate that they were trying to find out how to make you happy or sad so that they could advertise certain products to you when they had you in the right mood.
And I was human. I am human. But I was just referring to myself in the past. Not that I was not human.
Coming in at number 10, we have a Facebook employee who is using Tinder to stalk women. Recently, in May 2018, it came out that Facebook had fired an employee who'd been using his clout with the social media giants to access private information about women. He was then using that information to stalk them on Tinder and find out extra facts about them, which is pretty creepy. The Facebook security engineer used privileged access to find women. Now, a woman called Jackie Stokes shared her screenshotted exchange with the man on Tinder. Facebook were very quick to act. Coming in at number 9, we have 100 missed calls. In a Reddit thread about awful Tinder stories, a guy whose username is JoskelixTricks posted a story about a girl he matched with. After 2 weeks of messaging, they met up. He said he was excited for the date as she seemed pretty cool. They had loads in common. They exchanged numbers and Facebook details prior to meeting, and this was a big mistake. He said in person she seemed kind of off. After a short date, he made his excuses and left. Unfortunately, this was when she began bombarding him with calls and over 100 texts. She sent him a string of video messages crying, telling him that she was suicidal and that he had to come and live with her and look after her. She began messaging other people he knew even when he blocked her. Eventually, after weeks of bombardment, he managed to successfully cut her out, but it was enough to make him quit Tinder forever. Coming in at number 8, we have Angry Tiny Anus. Sure, nobody's personal safety was threatened during this scary Tinder story, but it is still truly horrifying. In a BuzzFeed article about awful Tinder dates compiled from community responses, a BuzzFeeder wrote in about a truly awful dinner companion. Imagine going on a first date, sitting down to a lovely dinner, just snacking on your bread, having a little sip of your wine, ordering your main courses, and then hearing this. They wrote, I went on a date with a guy from Tinder, and as we were eating, he told me about his visit to the doctor that day. I listened sympathetically as he told me how he regularly produced massive stools. Due to him being a vegetarian, apparently this tore his tiny anus into shreds. Apparently he had to put cream on it. Now needless to say, she didn't date him again. I cannot deal with talk about tiny anuses ever, but especially over dinner. What are you thinking? Seriously, even if we've been together for 10 years, I don't want to hear about your anus. It's just a steadfast rule. Coming in at number 7, we have a woman who attacked her boyfriend with a sword because she found out that he'd secretly been using Tinder. A warning to all of those of you out there using dating apps to cheat on your partners. It doesn't end well. In March 2018, a woman in Camas, Washington slashed her boyfriend with a samurai sword because he was using Tinder behind her back. 30-year-old Emily Javier stabbed her 29-year-old boyfriend Alex Lovell at their home. She then called police to say that she was worried that he was dead. It seems like the whole incident was premeditated. Now Emily had found the dating app on Alex's phone. She'd then gone to the mall to buy the sword, then launched her attack. She was immediately regretful as to what she'd done. She called 911. Now luckily Alex did survive the attack. Coming into number 6, we have a Tinder rapist. In February 2018, a man was jailed for 5 years for raping a woman who he met on Tinder. 20-year-old Christian Stevenson of Hemlington, Middlesbrough, UK, was convicted of raping a woman who wished to remain anonymous. The rapist text stream with his victim was publicised, during which he defended Donald Trump and said that rape is, and I quote, not that bad. Christian went to the victim's home on their second date and tried to sleep with her. She rebuffed his advances, but he managed to pin her down. She later texted him saying he knew that she didn't want it, but he continued anyway, to which he replied, I know I shouldn't have.
Starting off at number 10, we have The Dead Man. This is a very creepy glitch from 2016. The video shows a man holding a new phone and opening his camera app. Now take a look at the bottom left of the screen. That's the bit that shows the previous image taken, and he says it's showing an image that didn't exist on his phone beforehand, the image of a dead man. When he tries to tap on the picture, he just gets a strange error message. Now he said the phone was totally brand new. He took it to get fixed at a phone shop and they told him to do a total factory reset. He did, but the picture was still there. That strange dead man in the corner of the screen. Alright, next up at number 9 now, we have The Daughter. This story comes from Reddit user Bilba Papa, who said that many years ago he got a call from his wife telling him that she was pregnant. Suddenly, his wife's voice cut out and he heard the voice of a girl on the other end calling him daddy. He explained that he wasn't her daddy, but she insisted he was before quickly hanging up the phone. His daughter was born later on, and then years later when she was a little girl, he caught her talking on the phone to someone in their house. She told him that she had been talking to him, even though he was clearly in the room with her and didn't get the call at all. He shrugged it off, but the memory has haunted him ever since. Next up at number 8, we have The Ringtone. This story comes from Wintermoon555, who said that one night she was staying in a hotel after a party. She switched off her phone. It was one of those old flip phones. She put it in her handbag and she turned off the light. Now as soon as the light went out, the music started. Creepy organ music coming from her phone. She fumbled for the light switch switch and grabbed her phone out of her bag. The tune was still playing loudly, even as she tried to turn it off. Whatever button she pressed, it just wouldn't stop. The screen was totally white. She was very freaked out, so she removed the battery and the SIM card, and finally the scary song stopped. The next day her phone was back to normal, but there was one last creepy twist to this story. When she went through her ringtones and listened to each one individually, she couldn't find the song. There was no trace of it ever again. Alright, next up at number 7 now we have texts from the past. This is a very creepy story. This is something we've actually looked at before on this channel. In early 2017, people started reporting getting strange texts from the past. Some of them appeared to be from the same day, June 23rd, 2003. Some of them were from a number simply called 19, while others had a string of digits after that. The texts all appeared to be blank. Phone networks said it was a glitch, while others spread theories that it was either a hack from the CIA or even their past selves trying to contact them in the future. What do you guys think? Alright, at number 6 now we have 1970. In February 2016, iPhone users started reporting on a very strange glitch. If you had automatic timekeeping disabled and you set your phone time to January 1st, 1970 at the stroke of midnight, the phone would just break. For real. People would turn their phones off, and when they came back on, the phone would just be forever on the loading screen. A lot of people had theories that this was some creepy date, maybe related to the history of Apple, but tech experts said it was just a glitch to do with how time is coded in iOS. Either way, just don't go that far back in time when setting your phone's time. Not worth it.
We have an unsolved murder at number 5. So we don't know whether or not the killer was definitely Tinder related, but we do know that the last thing Sydney Loof from Nebraska did was go on a date with a woman that she'd met on the dating app. 24-year-old Sydney posted how excited she was about her date on Snapchat. She posted a selfie and she used the heart eye emojis. She met 23-year-old Bailey Boswell, and her phone was last pinged at her house that she shared with her roommate, Aubrey Trail, a 51-year-old male. When Sydney failed to show up to work the next day, she was reported missing. Sadly, she was found dead in a rural part of Clay County. Now, both Bailey and Aubrey were arrested but protested their innocence. Coming into number 4, we have the woman who fell off a balcony. In 2014, Warrena Wright was on a date with a guy called Gable Tosti. She'd met this guy on Tinder. It was kind of going well. She went back to Gable's Gold Coast apartment and they drank whilst listening to music. The pair took a selfie together, although she does look kind of out of it. Gable made an audio recording on his phone asking Warrena to leave. He threatened to throw her off his balcony. In the recording, the 26-year-old female sounds pretty distressed and pretty drunk. Gable seemed to threaten to lock her on his balcony, and the woman then tried to climb down to freedom, but unfortunately she fell to her death. Gable was then arrested for murder, but later cleared. Coming into number 3, we have a woman doused in gasoline. This is a horrifying Tinder tale if ever I heard one. In 2017, a man led police on a 100-mile chase on Australia's east coast after stabbing his Tinder date 11 times and dousing her in gasoline. Dr. Angela J had been seeing 36-year-old Paul Lambert for 2 months before she ended their relationship. He didn't take it well and snuck into her house as part of a plot to rape and murder her. Angela had already applied for a restraining order when Paul broke in and stabbed her legs. He then doused her in the gasoline as she tried to escape. Luckily, she managed to flee to a neighbor's house and call for help. Police tried to catch the fleeing maniac, but Paul Lambert was shot dead after a lengthy car chase. Coming into number 2, we have the sad story of a woman who was stabbed to death. 23-year-old Molly McLaren was stabbed to death by a man she met on Tinder, even after she reported him to the police. Molly from Kent in the UK met Joshua Stimpson on Tinder in November 2016. They dated for 4 months. After the woman called things off with the 26-year-old male, he struggled to accept it was over. They briefly got back together in June, but once again Molly called things off because of Joshua's demanding nature. She blocked him on social media, but he kept posting nasty things about her where he could. This led to Molly reporting him to the police. She also told her friends that she was scared of him. 12 days after their relationship ended in June 2017, Joshua stabbed Molly 75 times in her car in what was described as a frenzied attack. Joshua was arrested at the scene. Now it seems that Joshua actually went on another Tinder date the night before Molly's murder. Finally, coming into number 1, one of the most gruesome Tinder stories I've ever heard, we have a woman whose body was dissolved in acid after a Tinder date. In 2016 in Mexico City, Francia Ruth Ibarra began dating Emmanuel Delaney Valdez Bocagares, both of whom were 26 years old. The pair dated for a short while, with their last date ending in Francia's murder. On the 3rd of December 2016, Francia got ready for her date, not knowing that it would be her last ever. Police believe that the woman may have turned down Emmanuel's advances, but they can't know for sure. What they do know is that she was murdered and her body was dissolved in hydrochloric acid. Her bones were then left out on his apartment's balcony. Reportedly, the man was emotionless upon his arrest.
Alright, moving on to number 5 now, we have the fountain. This story comes from Reddit user Deliic, who said that one day they were visiting a spa with their friend. They left their phone in the bedroom to charge and went out for lunch. On the way to the restaurant, they saw a nice looking fountain, but when they went to take a picture of it, they realized they had left their phone behind. They carried on with their day, they ate and spent time at the spa before going to sleep at 11:45 p.m. They woke up the next morning, went into their pictures, and there was the photo of the fountain. It was taken at about lunchtime the day before. They said there was no way they could have mixed up their phones, and besides, his was about to die on battery anyway. How did this happen? Many commenters in this thread had theories on parallel universes, and was there something special about that fountain? Moving on to number 4 now, we have FaceTime. In 2011, a strange glitch started happening where people using Apple's FaceTime would see random pictures of themselves just appear on the screen that they said they never even took. One guy said he called his girlfriend and saw a picture of himself from that day at the office. Now, he hadn't taken a picture of himself at the office. It wasn't stored on his phone either in his photos. This raised a lot of security concerns because if they weren't taking the pictures of themselves, who was? The FaceTime glitch seems to have exposed a hidden feature of picture taking. Best case scenario, it's just your phone being kind of creepy. At worst, it's another person being creepy with your phone. At number 3 now, we have the Obama Prize. In April 2013, word started going missing from text messages. It was happening in Apple's iMessage when users text certain phrases and the last word would be deleted, leaving just a weird space behind. It only happened with the phrases, "I could be the next Obama," and also the phrase, "The best prize is a surprise." Now, if you sent those texts with spaces after those last words, the words Obama and surprise would mysteriously disappear. Nobody could figure out why, and Apple refused to comment. This left some people thinking that the missing words were clues left behind by some hacker or Apple employee, and that there was some full message yet to be decoded. Next up at number 2 now, we have Grandma. In October 2014, Sherry Emerson got a text from her grandma. The only problem was, she was already dead. They had buried the phone with their grandmother when she died because she loved to text people. Sherry sent a few messages to her as part of her grieving process, never expecting a reply, so she was more than shocked when she got a text that said, "I'm watching over you. You'll get through this. You'll be alright." Similar texts came through and Sherry started freaking out that maybe she was still alive or that someone had dug up her phone from that grave. Eventually, the phone company came forward and said there had been a glitch in their system. Sherry had asked them to remove the number from the system before, and they said they did, but somehow it still went live again. What do you guys think? Tech mistake or message from beyond? Moving on to number 1 now, we have bowling. One Reddit user said they went bowling with their family one night and wanted to post a picture of the empty lane to Instagram. When they went to post it though, they noticed it had changed. The picture was still of the bowling lane, except they were now in it. It was a view of them from behind, about to bowl. After a few seconds, the picture switched back to the original. They said they were seriously freaked out and are sure that no one else could have taken the picture because it was in their pocket and hands the entire time. They begged other Reddit users for a rational explanation, but nobody could offer one. Well, that was creepy. I'd love to hear your thoughts or even explanation on those because most of them still don't have a good answer to this day. Have you guys ever experienced anything weird like this with your phone? Let me know in the comments section. My name is Danny Burke. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Want to see more videos like this one? Check out this video next. Viewer discretion advised. It's about disturbing real-life demon photos that you won't believe are real, but have been confirmed by the Pope himself. Click the video now to find out more. See you guys in the next video.